we got some disappointing news for Creighton men's basketball head coach Greg McDermott. He apologized Tuesday after he made some racially insensitive comments on Twitter following a loss to Xavier last week. And I'll read the quote. I'm not gonna mention what it means, but I'll just read the quote anyway. It says, "Guys, we gotta stick together. We need both feet in. I need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anyone leave the plantation." So, it's rather disturbing if you know what it means. But if you don't, then go ask someone who does know um what it means. I don't want to say it on camera, but anyway, there's a quote from McDermott himself, strictly apologizing. This is a long one, so bear with me. And I quote, "On February 27th, after an emotionally tough loss on the road, I addressed our student athletes and staff in the post-game locker room and used a terribly inappropriate analogy in the making a point about staying together as a team despite the loss." And I already read through the tweet, so I'll continue on. I immediately recognized my egregious mistake and quickly addressed my use of such insensitive words with my team. I have never used that analogy, and it's not indicative of who I am as a person or as a coach. I am deeply sorry. I have apologized to our student athletes, to our staff, as well as President Daniel Hendrickson, of Director of Athletics, Bruce Rausman. Over the last 72 hours, I have engaged in multiple difficult conversations with student athletes, staff, parents, and university administrators, and I realize the pain that my words have caused. For that, I sincerely apologize. I am committed to ensure that this will never happen again, and I am using this as a learning experience. While there remains work to be done and trust to earn back, I appreciate our student athletes' honesty and will maintain an open dialogue and grow and learn together. And the short spirit was Jeff Borzello of he's an ESPN staff writer. So Mara, you go first.
Yeah, well, they first of all, like, apologies to anybody on that team or anybody in the world who was offended by these comments. Obviously these comments, they're pretty negative. They're not like, I'm surprised to hear them, but we heard it a lot with like commentators. We've heard it a lot with other coaches. We've heard it a lot with even players saying it. So this really isn't anything new. This isn't really anything new. Despite that, it still is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, he made a pretty bad analogy. He could have used anything, but he used plantation. And again, we don't really feel like talking about the history behind it. But for people who don't know the history behind it, like, I'd suggest like Googling it or ask somebody who does know what it is, because we're not gonna really talk about it. But here's the thing, okay? I'll give Greg the little credit that I think Greg McDermott deserves, and he deserves very, very little. Is at least going up to everybody and saying, like, look, I apologize. I apologize. What I said was absolutely wrong. Because some people, just don't apologize. You understand what I'm saying? Some people, the media has to get on their rear ends for them to apologize. But for him to already apologize, got to give him a little bit of credit there. However, here's the thing. This is what we say. Okay, we say this towards commentators, but it's towards coaches too. You're always on the hot mic. Okay, whatever you say can be used against you. Hell, we've gotten some story. We got some stories confused with in the past too. For that, we apologize. But then that hot mic's on us. But like, this is a completely different story. For you to say these types of comments, I mean, like, it really is disturbing me. Like, and you could have used any other analogy to describe it. You know what I'm saying? We need to stick together. We need to stick like glue. We need to stay united as one. We are all one family. You could have used that anything in the world, but instead you're using like plantation. Like, why? Like, what's the point of it? You can't think of anything else besides plantation. I understand you're trying to be motivational, but that's not the way to do it. It's definitely not the way to do it. And I can only imagine what the players were thinking when they were like players, and especially assistant coaches, because I know their assistant coach is a man of color too. I can only imagine what they were thinking when they heard that, in person. They're probably confused, and then they're thinking about it, and they're like, I can't believe he probably just said this, because it's something that he shouldn't say. Like, I remember the announcer a couple of years ago who made certain comments towards Russell Westbrook when Russell Westbrook was having a great night, and he said some comments that I will not repeat. But like, here's the thing: professional people like that, they're professionals. Okay, they're good at speaking because that's what they do for a living. Commentators speak for a living. Coaches speak to their players for a living. Even players, they do interviews. A lot of them do interviews after the game, every single game for a living. So at this point, you should know what and what not to say. You should know what will give a reaction out of the media and what won't. And the fact, and even if it doesn't even give a reaction out of the media, you shouldn't say it in general, you know? Like us, like obviously we're new to this. We haven't even been doing this for a year. But you're not gonna hear us you're not gonna hear us compare people like that. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna hear us talk about using certain negative parts of history in an analogy. We're not gonna do that, you know, because we know those are not the right words to say. And that's on Greg McDermott. You know, I mean, credit. Like, I'll give him little credit where little credit is due. At least he went up to everybody and was like, "Look, I'm sorry." At least he talked to multiple parents and multiple people and went like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I apologize." But the fact of the matter is, those words already came out of your mouth. You know, you can't take them back. Now he's gonna have again, like he said, he's gonna have to earn the trust of them all over again. And honestly, you know, I hope he can learn from this mistake, and I hope he can move forward. You know, and I hope he learns from this lesson and decides not to use something like that again. Because, hey, he's lucky that he's still. I'm gonna be honest with you, Nick. He's lucky he still has his job. He does, because I remember that commentator who said that he ended up getting fired. It was the Reds commentator who said something that in the wrong context, and he ended up getting fired. So he's lucky he still has his job after what he said. You know, he should be blessed for that. But now this is your chance to gain the team's trust back and to not say something like that ever again. And let this be a lesson to everybody out there, okay? Watch what you say to people, okay? There's no need to put race in everything, okay? There really isn't. I don't understand why people got to do it, really. If you're mad at somebody, I understand. If you're mad at somebody, okay, I understand. But there's no need, no circumstances, in my opinion, whatsoever, where you put race into something. No circumstances, okay? If you're mad at somebody, you know, and you want to call him an asshole, call him an asshole. If you're mad at somebody, you want to call him a jerk, call him a jerk. But don't end up putting something that has to do with race and like religion and something that they are into an insult, you know, or don't put race or religion into an analogy, you know, when it's a negative part of history. You know what I'm saying? If it's a negative part of history, don't put it into some type of analogy to make a point, because that's the wrong way to make a point. So you know what? I mean, with that being said, I wish Creighton basketball team the best of luck. I hope that the head coach really learned his lesson from this and can move on. And I hope this is a lesson to everybody else. Just watch what you say to people.
Yeah, I'll pick up from there. You know, good luck to the team. You know, I apologize to everybody affected. Well, man, like, you're absolutely correct. This dude, you know, Greg McDermott is very lucky to still have his job. Because I've said on the show many times, you know, a lot of guys, you know, especially in this day and age where racism is such a hot topic in the world right now, you say one thing like that, and your words are going to be used against you. You're going to lose your job. It doesn't even matter. Like, you know, obviously, you know, freedom of speech, fine, you can preach that, but when you say stuff like that, that's just absolutely wrong, and it shouldn't be said. And especially, like I said, in this day and age, like 30 years ago, you would have probably gotten your first, second, and third warning, and boom, you're out. In this day, that doesn't exist no more now. This isn't 1990. This is 2021. 30 years ago, everything was different. You know, you said something like that, and yeah, you would have got backlash, but you wouldn't have lost your job either. Now in 2020, not only 2021, excuse me, not only are you getting backlash, but you're losing your job too. So this dude better count his blessings and really learn from his mistakes, because this dude should have lost his job, but he did. So he better count his blessings. With that said, I want to go back to the commentator. Now, I'm not sure if this is the guy you were talking about, the Reds announcer. It happened last season, actually. He said like a gay slur along live television. And I don't know if you guys want to see that, but if I can find a video, I'll put it in the description down below if you really want to find out what he said. I'm not going to say it.
Was it the Rays or the Reds?
It was the Reds. That happened last season.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The Reds announcer who got fired.
Yeah. So he ended up going on the broadcast, which, by the way, was very. I'll put that in the description down below too. But that was very awkward too, because he was apologizing, and then he hit a home run. He was announcing the home run in the process. It was a very weird apology, but he did apologize, and I think I can't remember if he got fired or if he stepped down, because if he got fired, I don't think he would have been allowed to broadcast that game and apologize for what he said. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But needless to say, his job's gone. He hasn't come back ever since. So, but yeah, I mean, look, man, y'all gotta be careful with what you say. Mario's right, yo. Y'all get into a fight, and you can call each other assholes. You can call each other jerks or dummies. idiots or whatever. But when you bring race into it, like I said, this is a day where racism is brought up again. It's a hot topic. You bring up a racial slur or whatever. A lot of bad things are gonna happen to you. You're gonna be eviscerated from the world. It's as simple as that. That's why you gotta be careful with what you say. Like this is something that triggered me too. The first time I read it, I was like, "What? Coach saying that triggers me." It really does. So y'all gotta be careful what you do, man. Y'all gotta be careful what you do. Y'all gotta be careful what you say, because this world is. I don't want to say sensitive because, well, actually, I could say that word, but like this world's very um. What's the word I want to use?
I'll say this. Times are changing, and
Right.
obviously I feel like a lot more injustice is now being exposed now than it was like 20, 30 years ago. And now since people are starting to see the injustice, they're starting to realize like, hey, look, this is still a problem in this world. And adding comments like that, it really doesn't help the problem. You
Yeah.
know, so like, and again, like like we gave him a little bit of credit. That we gave him just a little bit of credit. At least he went up to everybody he could and apologized. Like we gave him a little bit of credit for that. But other than that, you saying these words, you saying these, since they already came out of your mouth, you can't take them back. It's not like words. It's not like you can fast forward, rewind 5 seconds, and then put them back in your mouth and not saying them. Okay, that's not how time works.
Oh,
Time
that's what I
always
wanted to
continues.
say. The world's eyes are open. That's how I wanted to say that. All right, but yeah,
Yeah.
y'all get my point at this point. Like y'all need to stick. Y'all need to seriously be careful, because now that the world's eyes are open, and they realize that this is a huge problem now. Like I've been
Right.
saying before, 30 years ago, this wasn't as big of an issue. Then maybe 50, 60 years ago, yeah, but then it started to kind of calm down, and now it's on top of the world now. So you guys gotta seriously be
Right.
careful. Okay.
Time is always moving forward. What we said 2 seconds ago, we can't take back. It came out of our mouths already. But like, I mean, the only thing I'll say this: the only thing that Greg McDermott's very lucky to have his job still. The only thing Greg McDermott can do now is gain the trust of his players back, and gain the trust of the assistant coaches and gain the trust of everybody he has offended back. That's the only thing he can do, because that's going to be on his history forever. We look at guys like Richie Incognito, and we look at guys like I'm trying to think. Oh my God, that guy from the Eagles. I'm trying to think. Cooper, something Cooper, I think it was. I can't remember his name. The guy in
I
the
can't remember
Eagles.
either.
I can't remember his name, but I mean, once you make like certain comments, they're on your history, and I mean, with that being said, that's the only thing he can really do now is gain his players' trust back, and it's going to take a very, very long time. This is definitely going to affect. I feel like the basketball team wise and like recruitment. If like people were offended, if basketball players, like high school basketball players, were offended by his comments, it might like kind of change their decision to play for him. Because I feel like not a lot of people would want to play for a coach who like would say those types of things. Um, but I mean, that's the only thing he can do is gain his players, is gain everybody he has offended, gain their trust back, and it's going to take some
Absolutely
time,
agree.
but that's the only thing he can do. But I mean, with that being said, I wish Creighton basketball team the best of luck. And I mean, unless you have anything else to say about this, Nate, that's really all I got to say for now.